I know I want to make an impact and make a difference, not even to just make myself feel good, but I want to be able to help kids at the end of the day, kids in my community who don't have the resources, who don't have the people to advocate for them at the end of the day. And it's also important for the younger ones to see people representing and succeeding in higher ed, to see people graduate, because if they know that someone like me who's graduating, they can think like, oh, I can graduate too, I can succeed too. So that's why completing a college degree is so important, not only for myself, but for so many others around me.
Higher ed! Fun! Higher ed! Fun! Higher ed! Fun! Higher ed!
Out and go in there and demand funding for higher education.
Yeah! This is Illinois' priority because we have to invest in the people that are making Illinois strong, and that is you all!
Our state has disinvested very significantly in our public higher education system. Part of that is neglect. We have a lot of stuff that we want to pay for in Illinois. We have lots of education we want to pay for. And I think higher ed has just been left behind in a lot of ways as we've thought about what do we think is important to us in a society. And in Illinois specifically, we did not have an organization dedicated to being an advocate for higher education, to defending it, to defending students' access to it, to making sure it had the resources to be consistently excellent. That has really cost us. It has caused declining enrollments in our institutions. We've lost students to other states. Because of that disinvestment, our institutions have become unaffordable.
As a first-year graduate student, I think it will change my experience of knowing that my program is going to continue. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with my professor about our program might no longer be a program. And we have a lot of international students who go to Western and are currently in that program, and letting them know there might be a possibility where you might have to change your program before you continue here. And with the visa process and everything, with your degree, it's very hard because you come out here for this specific program just for it to get snatched away because of funding. Having that fear of that funding being taken away. My biggest things, you gotta look for the program, transportation, and you gotta look for affordability. Those things that once was where I originally first started my freshman year, it's no longer like that.
Money is the root to everything in college. You need money to do everything in college. So having that barrier put off of tuition or the housing or your meal plan, I feel like people actually be able to enjoy their time at college, and the stress levels of everybody will probably go down besides just trying to work another job to fund for college, pretty much.
What we're saying is highest and best use of the tax dollar. How do we make sure that it's going to the institutions that oftentimes disproportionately serve our most marginalized groups, Black, Latinx, first-gen, low-income students? They need the funds in a different way than a U of I needs the funds. But we're also saying U of I also should be adequately funded and to the right level.
For our Black and Latinx students.
Well, come on, that's how I feel.
Man, say less.
I transferred to Western Illinois and I didn't qualify for financial aid, so my parents were paying the full tuition, which it did affect them a lot because my dad had to take money out of his 401k.
I'm working 2 to 3 on-campus jobs so that way I can try and cover the gap, and the gap is only getting bigger. So right now it's me trying to find any sort of supplemental income to help me cover some of my loans and other funding that I would need, especially at Western Illinois University, where there's a lot of budget cuts and necessary changes that have to be made. But in a perfect world where we have adequate MAP grant funding, we have adequate public university funding, and especially for community colleges too, that we're able to create these avenues for people to take the necessary stepping stones to further themselves in their career.
And I think the financial hardships was really a big thing for me. Once you have financial problems, it goes into mental problems. So then I got mental problems, and then that goes into physical problems. Now I can't eat. Now I'm super stressed. Now I can't focus in class. Now I'm behind in work because I'm even more stressed on how I'm going to pay for school.
Something I would want to tell a legislator about higher education experience, I think they often forget that we're students and they see us as a number. I feel like sometimes we become a statistic. They forget the human, the empathy. And so I'd want to tell them we're human beings, we're real, and we struggle. And once upon a time ago, they did too. To now, where everything is even scarier with higher education, budgeting, becoming to a point that's very scarce for students. Students not knowing whether or not they are able to continue.
You have to give that money to where it's most needed, and that is within public universities and within the student body. Without this money, there is no guarantee as to having this exponential future that we want to have. So by giving this money, you are intrinsically benefiting also.
What I would say to legislators to invest in higher education is we want to be in the same position they are one day. We want to be a legislator or a doctor or a lawyer. So in order to do that, we need to attend school. Just having that support, even just for like the first 4 years, I feel like it's just a big thing for the legislators to think about.
We need you to understand that we can't do this all by ourselves. We need you to be our advocate. I can advocate for myself, and I can speak on behalf on people who were not able to be here today for Advocacy Day. But at the end of the day, when it comes to advocating for the bills or anything or money, that's up to them. And so I hope that they can be part of a positive impact on students rather than a negative, and be part of a positive change where students are able to succeed. And then they can truly say, like, you know what, I was part of that. I helped advocate for this, and because of this percentage of students were able to graduate this year. This many students were able to get their education funded. So that's what I hope to tell them and hopefully come true.